All right, friends, as we discussed yesterday, the breaking news coming out of the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ends the availability of mifepristone by mail, requires that it be administered in a physician's presence, and restricts its use through 7 weeks of pregnancy instead of 10. Despite this decision, as you probably heard by now, the restrictions are not going to take place immediately. The U.S. Supreme Court previously issued an injunction allowing access to the drug until it's fully litigated. Well, now joining me is Erin Hawley with Alliance Defending Freedom, who represented this case all the way. Erin, welcome back to Washington Watch. Great to see you.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
Well, listen, we've just got a couple of moments, but first of all, congratulations. Huge victory for the pro-life movement, huge victory for protecting women's health. Real quickly, what did the decision do? And, you know, what are your overall opinion, your thoughts of it at this point?
Absolutely. So the opinion was a huge win for the pro-life movement. In particular, the FDA determined that the FDA had unlawfully allowed for mail order abortions. As you know, women, even scared teenagers, can go online and in a few minutes have an abortion drug shipped to their door, take that drug at home with no oversight from the doctor. The Fifth Circuit's decision puts an end to that. It also puts back in place the original 2000 safeguards. And these safeguards include things like 3 doctor's visits. The gestational age, as you mentioned, is 7 weeks rather than 10 weeks. And just really crucial safeguards, including having a doctor actually assess the woman before prescribing mifepristone, things that make this a safer drug, although, of course, it is inherently dangerous to the unborn child.
Well, absolutely. But what a huge step in the right direction. What do you think this means going forward, particularly in light of the Supreme Court's decision from a legal perspective? What is going to be the pathway of this going forward, and what do you think is going to happen?
Absolutely. So the Biden administration has already announced that they are going to appeal. And in really a crazy statement, both the press secretary, Biden's press secretary, as well as the vice president issued statements that called the decision unprecedented. And I think the fact that this decision is not unprecedented, the FDA is an agency just like any other agency, and it also has to hold itself to what is called the Administrative Procedure Act. So this is an act enacted by Congress that holds agencies to minimal standards for decision making. And this means that the FDA, just like any other agency, has to follow the rules. They didn't do that for chemical abortion. They bowed to political pressure. And for that reason in particular, I hope and think the court will look at this not as an abortion case, but as a case in which an agency simply failed to follow the rules. They failed to do their duty of keeping women safe, the women that they're charged with protecting, and instead, as we mentioned, allowed mail order abortions without a single visit to a doctor.
Well, that's a good point, the whole safety of the drug approach. Listen, we've got about 30 seconds left. Some are saying this is a partial victory for the Biden administration. Do you agree or no?
Not at all. I think it is a huge win for the pro-life movement, and I'll tell you why. It makes good on the promise of Dobbs. This means that pro-life states can enact legislation and pro-choice states can't ship drugs into the state anymore. A huge win.
Erin Hawley from Alliance Defending Freedom, thank you so much for this update, and thanks for all the incredible work you and ADF do for all of us. God bless you.